get the 2023 Clownfish comic books, including Crimson Wren Volume 1 and previously on Clownfish TV. We're offering a limited number of these books. In our second chance offer, go to shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com.
Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and I am here by myself today because Neon is someplace else. And we're going to talk about how Barbie is doing in the theaters and how Barbie fails the Bechdel test. Because it's just so funny to me, they're talking about this movie and it's like this, feminist icon and all this stuff, but it basically fails the Bechdel test, which, let's be honest, the Bechdel test is meaningless anyway. I just found it ironic. And I want to point out something my son had said about it. He said what's funny to him is it's a movie about women that's mostly about men. And it is. So we're going to talk about that. So before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, you'll get a woohoo. Woohoo! And we're going to talk about this. So IGN's talking about how Barbie had the best domestic box office opening day of 2023 so far. Completely believe it. Theaters are packed. Because I think a lot of it is because a lot of women grew up with Barbie and they're taking their kids or taking their daughters to see Barbie, and it's not a kid's movie. So you're going to go to this thinking like the Mario movie or it's a movie about toys. So you're like, okay, it's a movie about Barbie. So it's going to be about, Barbie having fun. And it starts out that way. It definitely starts out as a movie you can take your kids to. It's Barbie's, as a doll, and here's her world and how she's being played with. And she goes to the real world and hilarity should ensue. And it's not the case. They have some adult jokes in there. There's, it's all about the patriarchy. And people are like, no, it's not. Yeah, it pretty much is. And it starts out solid and then it just goes downhill. And it's so sad because they really had a great thing going in the beginning and they grasped what made Barbie, fun and what would make it appealing to girls and little girls. And then they had to take it down the road of, well, I'm an adult now and here's my problem with Barbie and here's my problem with Ken. Basically, here's my self-therapy. And that's when it went off the rails. So, I don't even know what to say about this. We did a whole review on it. You can look. Pinky Boo and I reviewed it. And we broke it down. We talked about the entire movie. So it's filled with spoilers. But we talked about what was good about it, what was bad about it. But it just keeps sticking with me what Squid King had said. He's like, for a movie about a feminist icon, about Barbie, it's awfully obsessed with men. So I jokingly put on Facebook that it failed the Bechdel test. And for those who don't know what the Bechdel test is, the Bechdel test is a Bechdel-Wallace test, and it's a set of criteria used to test to evaluate a work of fiction, such as a film, on the basis of inclusion and representation of female characters. So for the Bechdel test to pass, you have to have at least two women, which it does, that be featured. They have to talk to each other, which a lot of women do, and they discuss something other than a man. Now, they do discuss things other than men, but they spend a lot of the movie discussing men. So you could technically argue, well, in that one conversation, they didn't talk about men. But most of the movie is them talking about men. So in that regard, I don't really think it does pass the Bechdel test. There are different parts of it could, but not the entire film. I just found it funny because they spend so much time being worried about men and about the patriarchy and about how men are jerks. But what made me so mad about the whole thing was that the poor Kens were treated like, they were an accessory to Barbie. And as my daughter points out frequently, they originally were an accessory to Barbie. And that's true. But if you're selling dolls and they had these dolls that, they're trying to sell to a diverse group of people. They're like trying to be diverse and inclusive. And here's what makes me mad. You can't in one breath say, we have to be more inclusive and we have to do more about making these non-binary dolls, the gender neutral dolls, so you can make them how you want. Or making a lot of different types of, different body types of women. Or they have different Ken dolls. And they have all these different types of things. You can't be inclusive and then at the same time say that your audience is bad. Because if you want more boys and men playing with their dolls. I saw ads for toys just recently, including the new doll house they have for the movie, and it's a boy playing with the dollhouse. I'm just thinking that's kind of contradictory, because you're saying you want more inclusivity, you want more men, you want more boys, coming to play with these dolls. You want to make them gender neutral so you can make it a boy or girl if you want. Here's the thing, but you just got done telling men they're bad. You know, you just got done spending this time talking about these men were treated like they were accessory to Barbie. They aren't their own person. By the end, they kind of are their own person. And maybe someday they'll be treated as well as women in our world. Well, that's the message you want to send when you have part of your audience isn't women? I just don't understand that. To me, that seems kind of counterintuitive. Plus, you can't really take your kids to this movie. So again, that's also counterintuitive. It was funny to me because I saw this article in Forbes, and Forbes is like, they're saying a less political Barbie movie would have been better and more effective. Agreed. I keep seeing these posts on Twitter. Well, it's just men. It's just toxic men. It's just man babies. It's just, well, one guy tried to give us a whole hard time saying it was macho men who are alt-right, who don't like this movie. And it's not true. There are a lot of women who don't like this movie. Now, there are some really positive and good parts of the movie. I'm not going to say the whole movie is bad because there are some things I like about the movie. Alan, weird Barbie. I think Barbie, when she came to our world and the way she interacted with that lady at the beach and some of the, different things that happened to Barbie, I thought were and her growth, realizing that she was treating Ken like crap. I thought that those were very good parts. But as a whole, it's not very good. So they come down here and they're talking about it. And they said there's a great scene at the new Barbie movie where Ken and his fellow Kens all sit around the beach playing Matchbox 20's Push in order to impress Barbies in their male-dominated new world order. It's hilarious, not just because of the setup, but because the song's about an emotionally abusive girlfriend. Yes, I caught that. I was like, that's the song they picked, and it's totally perfect. It's totally perfect because it's basically, that's what these Barbies were doing to them, and they do it again. I want to pause for a minute. Margot Robbie keeps nailing it with her looks at the different premieres. I want to give her credit for that because she keeps pulling up old Barbie outfits as inspiration, and she really did do a great job with that, and she looks really cute. So I want to make sure I make that point. But they're talking about most people aren't going to know what the song's about. It was controversial when it came out in '97. Yes. Feminist groups were outraged and claimed the song was about domestic violence and abusing women. Rob Thomas clarified that song was actually about emotional abuse and sung from the perspective of the abusive girlfriend that did little to quell the backlash. Yes, you listen to the lyrics. Dude's sick of being treated like shit and fights back. And that's basically what was happening to Ken. But they get down here and they're talking about the song, the choice of song and the question about the song. But they said, for the rest of the movie, it's certainly thought-provoking as well. But Barbie suffers the most from its heavy-handedness. I'm all for a feminist version of the famous doll. Well, the doll itself is just feminist by nature. But I think that Greta Gerwig is often very clear and very funny when dealing with these issues. But I also think the film hammers the point home just a bit too hard much of the time. Its biggest weakness is its overt political message, which would have been much better served as a subtle suggestion implanted with care into the minds of the audience rather than a bright pink billboard dominating the skyline. And I agree, because they spend the entire movie being like, hey, you know what? Barbies can do anything. Ken, he's an accessory. And when Ken tries to stand up for himself, I mean, he does take it too far. But it's understandable when you've been pushed down so long that misogyny's bad, men are bad. Someday, if they're lucky, they might be as important as women in this world. And it isn't a good message. And like I said, it's really weird when you're trying to sell certain types of dolls. You're trying gender neutral dolls to try to appeal to boys and girls. You have, all kinds of Ken dolls out there, Ken in a wheelchair. Then you have, Barbie ads with boys playing with dolls, too, which is fine. I don't think there's a problem with boys playing with dolls. A lot of boys collect dolls, and that's fine. But which is it? Are you wanting to include boys, or are boys subservient it to women? Which one is it? That's what I want to know. And you're creating a lot of controversy. You've done all this stuff recently that you're so proud of with more diverse dolls, biodiversity, more diversity inclusion, gender neutral dolls that didn't sell. And, you're putting boys in the ads and all this other stuff. And you're trying to, promote that, boys are, included too. And then you do that movie. And then you have this big movement, out in general, talking about how, no one should be kept out. You need to be inclusive. You need to be representative. Even if it's, it's for everyone. And if you're excluding some group of people, you're a terrible person. But then at the same time, you're like, well, Barbie's for women. That's what you keep hearing ever and ever. Well, men don't like it because Barbie's for women. Well, isn't that very exclusionary of you? Because there's a lot of men who collect dolls. I don't know. It just seems to be like a complete double standard. A complete double standard. And that's what makes me annoyed. But I'm going to try to focus on some positive stuff here at the end, because I want to show you some of the dolls I loved that was Barbie. People are like, you just don't like Barbie. No. Loved Barbie. Barbie was my favorite when I was a kid. Yeah, I had Shira and I had Gem and stuff. But Barbie was my thing. You could ask my mom. I was a Barbie girl. It was a Barbie world. And I loved everything Barbie. Like my list for Christmas was always Barbie. My birthdays, I remember getting Barbie all the time. It was like my thing. I instilled that in Pinky Boo. I just loved Barbie dolls. Like they were like my favorite thing. I used to collect them too. I had like when the Sears Celebration Barbie came out, when they had that started with the Christmas holiday Barbies, had the first ones. I collected dolls. My mom collected dolls. My sister collected dolls. We all loved Barbie dolls. And people are like, well, you're just a horrible person and all this other. I'm like, no. I was there. I loved it. My mom has the earliest Barbie. Okay. She has one of the earliest dolls. She has the bubble hair, the Tishan bubble hair. And she had the Solo in the Spotlight dress and the doll case. Unfortunately, the dress and the doll case are MIA. But she, kept it for years because she loved it so much. And then when I was a little girl, I had Barbie because, it was what everybody wanted. But some of the ones that I absolutely adored, and I mentioned this before, Astronaut Barbie. I never got Astronaut Barbie, but I loved Astronaut Barbie. Loved her so much because, not only could she go to space, but she could look amazing while doing it. And look at that sparkle. And look, she had pants and a skirt. And look at those tights. Look at all that glitter. This is amazing. Astronaut Barbie. Loved Astronaut Barbie. Never had her. But I did have Crystal Barbie. And I loved Crystal Barbie and Crystal Ken. Look how shiny. See, are you starting to see why I'm called Geeky Sparkles now? Look at all this. She was so beautiful. And she had a really pretty necklace. And the dress was just iridescent and gorgeous. Had her. Loved her. They had this Barbie in the movie, the Day to Night Barbie. Loved Day to Night Barbie because she could go and be all businessy and kick ass and, do her Wall Street thing. And then she'd go clubbing at night and look fantastic. And she was ready for a date. And it was awesome. You could kick ass and then go party. And and she loved her little briefcase. Also, Dream Glow Barbie. I still have a Dream Glow Barbie. I had her and Ken. I remember getting her and Ken, and there was a bed for my birthday. And I also got Crystal Barbie, I believe, for my birthday at a different time. Love it. Still have it. She would glow in the dark. Her bed would glow in the dark. It was like, holy shit, this thing glows in the dark. It's like frilly and silver, like there's silver threads throughout it. And it's like fuzzy on the bodice. And it was sparkly. And it was like glow in the dark. Awesomeness. I don't know how you could not like this doll. And then I loved the Barbie and the Rockers. They were later on for me. But I had these dolls too. I hated the second series. I wasn't a big fan of the second series. Ken just looks, yeah. And then Derek, yeah. But, the first series was better, I thought. And you fight me, I don't care. I like the first series better. Then I switched kind of to Gem. But those are some of the ones that I loved and I had. I'm trying to end on a positive note because I'm getting to the place now where I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to go to movies anymore because I get myself so excited. And people are like, you just go to hate things. You just want to hate on everything. Not true. Definitely not true. I hate that movies suck now. I totally do. Like, I don't even go. Like, if there's something I think I might not like, just because I just don't want to deal with any more shit and be lectured at, I just won't go at all. And Mario was fun. I had fun at Mario. And I really, really thought Barbie was just going to be fun. And it was just going to be, there might be some, I gather they probably would have some, women good, men bad crap in it. But not to the level it did. And I'm so disappointed. And Pinky Boo was so disappointed. And it's like, I don't even know, like, I don't even want to go to movies anymore. If I do, I have to see something I'm pretty sure I'm going to like. And then sadly, if you're pretty sure you're going to like it and you don't like it, you're even more upset. It's not that we hate everything. It's just that nothing is being put out that's decent. Everything has to have some damn message put in it. Why can't we just have a toy movie about Barbie? And then, Mattel's trying to chase her and catch her and Ken and put them back into their Barbie world. And her and Ken are out there having hijinks and all that stuff. It would be funny and it would be appealing to boys and girls. And everybody would have, had a blast. But no! We have to preach to people about patriarchy. And I'm just so fucking sick of it. So I wanted to look at something I enjoyed just because it makes me feel a little better because I love Barbie so much. Anyway, I will talk to you later. I stand by, Barbie passes the Bechdel test in some places, but a lot of the movie, she does not pass the Bechdel test. And I think as a whole, in general, if you're going by the whole movie, I would say it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. And I know it's going to piss people off, and I really don't care. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.